Should cursive writing be taught in school? What do you think? I think it should. Some South Carolina lawmakers have had enough of the change, and they think that kids should be able to write in cursive. Well, many schools dropped cursive writing as computer use spread. South Carolina has not required it since 2008. But in 2014, a Senate panel approved a requirement to bring it back. Some lawmakers object to the price, $27 million, for materials and teacher training. Although that's a lot of money, I still feel that it's very valid to teach our children cursive writing. 3 reasons why is cursive writing stimulates the brain. Cursive writing also promotes focus. And students need to know how to read cursive writing. It's very important. Cursive writing helps train the brain and integrate visual and tactile information and fine motor dexterity, Dr. William Clem said in an article in Psychology Today. The skills developed from learning cursive writing cannot be replaced by using a keyboard. In addition, MRIs have revealed an interesting relationship between handwriting and the brain. The brains of people with good handwriting are more active in areas associated with cognition, language, and executive function than the brains of those with poor handwriting. The written notes capture my thinking better than typing, said educational psychologist Kenneth Kyra at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln, who studies differences in how we take notes and organize information. Brain imaging studies show that there's something about writing things down that excites the brain. Note-taking is a pretty dynamic process, says cognitive psychologist Michael Friedman at Harvard University, who studies systems for taking notes. You are transforming what you hear in your mind. Researchers have been studying note-taking strategies for almost a century, and not until recently they did focus on differences caused by the tools that we use to capture information. Today, however, virtually all college students have portable computers. Lectures are the main vehicle for instruction, and the keyboard clatter of note-taking is the soundtrack of higher education. Generally, people who take class notes on a laptop do take more notes and can more easily keep up with the pace of the lecture than people scribbling with a pen or a pencil, researchers have found. College students typically type lecture notes at a rate of 33 words per minute. People trying to write it down manage about 22 words per minute. In the short run, it pays off. Researchers at Washington University in St. Louis in 2012 found that laptop note takers tested immediately after a class could recall more of a lecture and perform slightly better than their pen-pushing classmates when tested on facts presented in class. They reported their experiments with 80 students in the Journal of Educational Psychology. The advantage, though, is temporary. After just 24 hours, the computer note takers typically forgot material that they've transcribed. Several studies said that. Nor were their notes much help in refreshing their memory because they were so superficial. In contrast, those who took notes by hand could remember the lecture material longer and had a better grip on concepts presented in class, even a week later. The process of writing them down encoded the information more deeply in memory, experts said. Longhand notes also are better for review because they're more organized. Cursive writing also promotes focus. Writing things down by hand forces a person to slow down and formulate his or her thought. Handwritten notes may hold the advantage over computer-typed notes in terms of recollection of facts. In an article this year in the Journal of Learning Disabilities, researchers looked at how oral and written language related to attention and what are called executive function skills, sort of like planning, in children in grades 4 through 9, both with and without learning disabilities. Virginia Berninger, a professor of educational psychology at the University of Washington and the lead author on the study, said that evidence from this and other studies suggests that handwriting, forming letters, engages the mind, and that can help children pay attention to written language. Students also need to know how to read cursive writing. In the state of Georgia, an article was written in the Brunswick News in the late 2013 that focused on the teaching of cursive writing becoming unnecessary in school. The article explained how, in a world dominated by computer keyboards and touchscreen keypads, cursive handwriting may be going the way of the manual typewriter. Song-Hoo Lewis, a director with the Glenn County School System, says the reason handwriting has become less important is the pervasiveness of technology. More students are tech savvy, she says, typing rather than writing. Some say cursive writing is seldom used except for signatures. Even then, e-signing and online transactions have removed the need to write in cursive. But what about the need to read cursive? A volunteer mentor of a middle school was working on schoolwork with a young man. He wrote him a note regarding an assignment that he needed to work on. "Here," he said, "keep this with you so you don't forget." The boy took the slip of paper and he stared at it for a moment before commenting, "I can't read this." The volunteer wasn't sure what the boy meant, so he retrieved the note and examined it. It was his best Palmer penmanship, with delicately curved letters listing gently to the right. And then the boy interjected, "I can't read cursive." There continues to be a need to sign hard copies of documents. There's a sense of ceremony and seriousness of purpose about the act of signing something. It calls to mind the signers of the Declaration of Independence. Just look at those signatures. John Hancock's was the robust, original, and elaborate that more than 200 years later, it still serves as the unmistakable logo of a namesake insurance company. And why not? It is a work of art. And another reason, a great part of the history of the United States is recorded in handwritten documents, including personal letters. There is nothing like seeing and, if opportunity permits, touching actual source material rendered by pen ink on paper. If one has not been taught to write in cursive, it is unlikely that one will be able to read it. A national survey of 612 elementary school teachers in the United States were asked how important they felt teaching cursive writing to students was to them. 85.5% said it was important, while 14.5% said it was of little or no importance to them. The campaign to do away with cursive writing has been precipitous, with supporters almost giddy about the prospect. But I believe that there is a great need in teaching children the art of cursive writing. It not only stimulates the brain, but it also helps a child focus more, and it helps that child to be able to read as well.